Yes, so my name is Eric Linsner, and I work with International Registries. International Registries covers the maritime administration of the Republic of the Marshall Islands, and we're a privately held company. We're the second largest registry in the world. We're also the largest gas carrier registry in the world, and we're very active internationally. We have offices in 27 cities around the world, and we are also very active internationally at the International Maritime Organization, ILO, and many other international organizations. Recently, as a registry, we've been undertaking some new initiatives. These initiatives would include the acceptance of electronic logbooks, electronic certificates, and we're also active in the development of new regulations in the international forum. Yes, I think the supply of LNG and LPG is more than adequate to meet world demands. There's been many discoveries of natural gas supplies domestically in the U.S. With the application of fracking, and there's been a very large domestic export market. This supply level will keep the price under control and competitive with other sources of bunker. The issue, of course, from a cost perspective, is delivery. LNG is a somewhat unique product, very different, requiring different equipment than conventional bunkers. And right now there's only a limited number of suppliers and a limited number of users. My anticipation is the economics of LNG as a marine fuel will continue to evolve, and as more and more people adopt it, there'll be better utilization of the bunkering facilities, and there'll be more competition, creating an economy of scale, bringing LNG as a marine fuel to the forefront in the coming years. Currently, there are not many vessels trading internationally using LNG or LPG as a marine fuel. The ships that are using this fuel are primarily coastwise vessels, but LNG has been used in marine fuel extensively over the past years as a fuel for LNG carriers, which utilize some of the boil-off for propulsion. So the technology of using LNG as a fuel has been well developed. There is a overall regulatory framework for the use of LNG as a marine fuel in place with the IGF code. And that's sort of the guideline that the coastal states will use in allowing the development of the fuel. I think that the lessons learned are that you need to have a coastal state buy-in to the application of the IGF code and uniform application of these codes as gas fuel ships become more and more prevalent. IRI actively participates in IMO, International Maritime Organization, and it's a cooperative organization consisting of many member states, and discussions establishing international regulation and treaties requires compromise. There are discussions, and some people give and some people take, but at the end of the day there's a consensus reached. Once the final instrument is adopted and goes out into application, it's enforced by the coastal states. And the coastal states are not always consistent and transparent in the implementation. So if I had a wish for the marine industry, it would be that the coastal states would be more transparent and more consistent in the implementation of the IMO conventions, which is consistent with the basis on which they were all negotiated. The message that I have, and I'm going away from the LNG as a marine fuel, is that it's pretty clear that the 2020 deadline will be enforced. And people should plan ahead for that. It's not something you can do on the last minute. You have to plan ahead, and you have to decide as an owner how you're going to comply. You can comply by using fuels that meet the sulfur standard. You can use alternative methods such as scrubbers and non-compliant fuel, or you can consider the use of LNG as a marine fuel which will meet the standard. The thing people have to remember is once you make the decision and implement the decision for 2020, it's not the end of the story. This is a new field, it's a new area, and you have to take the data that you collect based upon your decision and decide how you want to use this going forward. The decision you make initially may not necessarily be the decision that you want in the long term. So the cautionary note I have for people are, one, prepare, and number two, once you make a decision, you got to analyze the results of your decision. Thank you.